New Star Trek comic reveals that the Breen are way stronger than everyone thought, setting the stage for epic space battles. Does it sound like the Breen have got enough firepower to bring the whole Federation to its knees? IDW Publishing just released the new Star Trek Sons of Star Trek miniseries in March 2024, and guess what it reveals? The Breen have got enough firepower to seriously threaten the Federation. Haven't things got really heated up? Haven't things got really heated up in the galaxy now with the Breen's presence? Wanna know what the mini-series is all about? So, it looks like Jake Sisko can't catch a break. His dad just saved the galaxy again, but Jake is still lost. Moreover, his buddy Alexander is not exactly Mr. Cheerful. Then, guess who shows up? Q Jr., the troublemaking son of that guy. Q. Yeah, he beams Jake and Alexander to some bizarre parallel universe. And what's the craziest part of the story? Jake's not a mopey writer anymore. He's a Starfleet officer. However, things are messed up. The Federation is in a full-blown war with the creepy Breen. These aliens have been raiding everybody, stealing dilithium crystals, the lifeblood of starships. Without dilithium crystals, Starfleet can barely fight back, leaving the Federation wide open for attack. Mind you, the Breen are not just some allies the Dominion picked up during the war. They're powerful enough to seriously threaten the Federation. So it looks like the Breen are overpowering the Federation's ability to defend itself, somewhere making them look like sitting ducks. Although the comic doesn't say how close the Breen are to winning, but things aren't looking good for our favorite space explorer. So the next question is, can Jake, Alexander, and the whole crew of young Starfleet cadets turn the tide? Check all these amazing things out in the first issue of Star Trek Sons of Starfleet. You really gotta read the comic to find out. Coming back to the Breen, are you aware that they are basically the creepy aliens you never get a look at in the horror movies? They're always lurking in the shadows, and even a brief glimpse is enough to scare you. You wouldn't want to bump into them anywhere, ever. Let us tell you, these guys are bad news. They beat the Klingons in a fight, which is saying something, and the Romulans even have a saying, never trust a Breen. That's all you need to know. In a big space war, they showed up with super weird tech that shut down everyone else's ships. Their spaceships are terrifying, and they wear those creepy suits that hide what they really look like. So after knowing the potential of the Breen, would you like to think that the good old Federation is getting beat up in this other reality? Yeah, it's crazy, because these Breen aliens have super tech. Like, way stronger than anything we've ever seen before. They can even move whole planets. But why all the showing off though? Turns out, they just want a ton of resources, and the Federation's special space diamonds, i.e. dilithium, are at the top of their list. Things aren't looking good for Starfleet. Can they somehow win this, or is the Federation about to disappear forever? So how did the Breen thing actually come up in Star Trek world? We first heard about the Breen way back in 1990 on Star Trek The Next Generation. Wanna know what's the main thing out here? Well, the makers ensured to allow Breen to be only talked about and never gave any visual stimulation. It means the characters talked about the Breen, but they were never visible to the viewers. This trend continued in other episodes as well. And guess what? This built the momentum for the Breen to be these big-time mysteries until finally they showed up in Deep Space Nine. Yeah, haven't you caught the Breen in that Deep Space Nine episode? They seemed like a joke, right? Well, the writers were the only ones laughing. They kept teasing us with these aliens, making everyone think they were up to no good, only to reveal someone else was the culprit. This time, though, they were like, okay, here are the bad guys for real. The Breen kidnapped Dukat's daughter, but guess what? There was more to the story. Well, it turns out that the writers were a bit lazy and didn't want to design a whole new alien race, so they just stuck some masks on them and called it a day. This ended up being a pretty good trick. No one ever saw what the Breen really looked like, which kept everyone guessing. People in Starfleet even came up with crazy stories about them. One rumor was that anyone who saw a Breen without a mask died, but that wasn't even quite true. Our favorite Bajoran, Kira, actually stole a Breen uniform twice, so she probably got a good look at what's under those masks, although someone joked they might look like Donald Duck. So what do we actually know about the Breen? Well, their home planet is also Breen, and forget the rumors about it being a frozen wasteland. Apparently, it's actually pretty comfy according to a Dominion dude named Wei-Yun. Breen can get pregnant young, which is good for them, we guess. One weird thing, Breen don't have blood. They like to keep themselves in their part of space and aren't big on making friends. In fact, if they do meet other aliens, it usually ends badly for the aliens, either killed or forced to work in Breen mines. Not cool. The Breen were tough guys. Remember when the Klingons tried to mess with them? Never saw those warships again. Big mistake. Anyway, the Breen weren't interested in sides until they were. In Deep Space Nine, they joined the bad guys, the Dominion, and attacked Earth, causing major damage in San Francisco. Ouch. Things got worse. The Breen had these crazy weapons that could zap the power out of Starfleet and Klingon ships, leaving them sitting ducks. They even blew up the original USS Defiant with this trick. Luckily, Starfleet figured out a way to fight back. But man, those Breen were a force to be reckoned with. Well, the Breen dudes also showed up again way later in a funny Star Trek show called Lower Decks. In the episode, they cause trouble for the USS Keritos crew on the ground and in space, but get blasted by a cool automatic ship built by a bad guy admiral. That was their last hurrah so far, but we bet we'll see these mysterious aliens again someday. But wearing those costumes was a nightmare for the actors. It was hard to see and breathe because they were just a tiny hole in the mask for their nose. Plus, the costumes were bulky and layered, making it tough to move around. The helmets were even worse. Guess they were going super mysterious. What are your views after knowing a lot more about the Breen? Share your comments with us in the section below. If you want more from us, if you want more content from us, like, subscribe, and share.